Yo, what's up, JDI on YouTube? What's up? What's up? We had a second since we did a Q&A here, right? Let's get these other things going. What's up, James? James Dudden. Getting set up. I'm glad to see how far you've come along. Well, thank you, thank you. You said great progress. How's everything going? Well, thank you first of all for the great progress. Things have been going great. Mark 4.5 is coming along real good. Hey, what's up, Hambala from Germany? Hey, much love to Germany. Yeah, the machine is coming along great. In fact, way better than I ever could have imagined because it is airtight and vacuum tight, which is a blessing. It's amazing that it's airtight, vacuum tight. All right, let's kind of get started on these other platforms here. I like to multi-stream, multitask. How much power will Mark 4.5 need to operate in watts? It's going to be between 8,000 watts and 12,000 watts. So it's going to be a power-hungry machine. That's okay because, you know, with it operating continuously, the idea is that, yes, it will consume a lot of power, but it will also on the output end put out a lot as well. That's the goal. That's the dream. So as long as that's the case, it doesn't really matter the consumption as long as we're able to get more out, right? That's really all that matters. All right, so let us go ahead and gotta get Discord open too. A lot of things here. Yep, well, I'm gonna need two pretty big generators to run this machine. A 12,000 or a 12 kilowatt output is pretty big. It's pretty big. That's enough to power a whole house, just for reference. So it's not a small thing to run. You said I gave you your first item. Thank you, James Dudden. I just saw your YouTube shorts yesterday, actually, and I'm extremely fascinated by your work. I'm curious how you even thought of the idea in the first place. Well, it just was a matter of problem solution. I just wanted to figure out how I could recycle plastics at my house by myself, you know, not relying on some industry or government to do it, and, you know, research the process of pyrolysis. That was a solution, and then I started to improve it, right? Because I didn't want to just stop it at, okay, I'm doing pyrolysis, right? I wanted to keep going and get to the point where it's like, I can actually make this process better, right? And potentially, you know, because I started with problem solution. And with it starting as problem solution, and I started to ask the question, what are the problems and solutions to why pyrolysis isn't being done, right? Because it is an existing technology, right? So why is it not being done properly? Efficiencies, right, are usually the biggest reasons why. And so I started to, you know, look into the problems of the efficiencies, like why is it inefficient? And then I looked into how I can make it better. So the same mindset of problem solution got to the point where we're using microwaves. And now with microwaves, we have got some very promising figures, even on small machines that have not been truly optimized yet, right, to their best efficiencies, right? Matthew Ross, thank you for the $50 on Cash App, Matthew Ross. He said, keep up the great work and thanks for sharing. Well, absolutely, Matthew Ross. That's the one thing you can guarantee from me. I will always be out here doing this work. And thank you so much for your contribution to the projects, the Earth and History. Guys on Instagram, we're in a live Q&A. You come in, you request to join in. I'm going to let you in, ask your questions. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch as well. You guys want better quality, you can head over to YouTube. We're going to be on Discord too in a second here. In a few minutes, we'll open up Discord too for anybody on the YouTube. Let me give you guys the Discord link for you guys on YouTube. If you guys want to come in, you just click this Discord link. Same for you guys on Facebook. You click this link, and when we start Discord, you'll be able to come in and ask questions live, just like these guys on Instagram are. Let's go ahead and get started here. Let's see. Have you tried the car fuel on an engine? Yes, we have. Top 10 edition, a 1995 Ford F350, and it ran.
What's good, bro?
What's up? What's up?
Man, I'm surprised you added me, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I've been looking at you for a while, bro. Now, I really salute you. Keep doing what you're doing, bro, for sure.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother.
Great. I got a good question. So, anything such as like plastic, like I've been watching anything such as plastic. Say that I want to put some sheets inside the in your contraption. Would that work as well? Like
Sheets?
I'm talking about anything. Yeah, sheets. Like, I'm talking about bedding sheets.
Yeah. So the good thing about this process of pyrolysis is that it works on anything that is organic, right? And that means that anything that was once alive, right, or is carbon based will go in there and make fuel.
That's wild. So, what is it inside plastic that was once alive?
Well, plastic comes from a whole bunch of plants and animals that got that decomposed and got, crushed under the earth. So, plastic is actually an organic molecule in that sense of the word because it comes from crude oil, right? And crude oil is organic. So plastic is just pretty much processed crude oil. So think about it like this. Plastic is kind of like the equivalent of me making oil out of like a piece of corn, making corn oil, right? Even though that oil is not something you could just find in nature, that's still a natural product.
Yeah, like olives, like maybe like olives as well, right?
You said olives?
Olives.
Right? Yeah. So that's a great example. It's just like plastic is super processed, right? It's like McDonald's. You're never gonna find a McDonald's French fry out in nature, but you'll find a potato out in nature, right? But ultimately, a McDonald's French fry will break down just like a potato will. And the only reason why plastic doesn't break down is because it has what we call very long hydrocarbon bonds. All right, but we can break those bonds apart with heat. Well, I use microwaves to do that. The process of pyrolysis, and that is exactly how we're able to make it pretty much degrade.
All right, I got one more question for you. Sure. Then I'll let you go, bro.
For sure.
So, how long do you think have the people on the higher ups, people that's actually like controlling the fossil fuels and controlling the fuel in the country and the world actually, how long do you think they knew of this method that you can reuse plastic and actually turn it into another fuel, you know what I mean? Or just like another energy?
Well, they've known about it forever because it's been in science forever. Let me tell you what the issue is. The issue has never been about knowing about it. It's been about the public knowing about it because it's been in science for so long, but yet look at how many people never heard about it before, right? So it's clearly suppressed. So the idea is, of what I'm doing is I want people to know about it above all else, right?
Yeah. Man, I'm going to keep watching you, bro. Like, you doing your thing. I'm all the way up Baltimore, man. Like, I'm coming a long way. Like, hey, you ain't never going to hear nothing like this in my city, bro. So just keep doing your thing. You really, you get into a lot of people that don't even have the resources to learn a lot. So just keep doing what you're doing, bro. You really making a difference, fam.
For sure, man. Hey, I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
Much love.
Much love.
Morbid, the shred dad said McDonald's in America French fries got plastic. You could use them. That's true. They got tons of plastic in them. What's up, guys on Facebook? Has the government ever contacted you to try to stop you? No. What's up, Siakro? Much love to Brazil. Gontes said, love your videos, man. Really informative. You're really smart. You must be protected at all costs. Thank you. Where are you from? Would be cool to genetically modify yeast bacteria to turn plastic into sugar, which we can be turned into ethanol. That's true, but you know what? And that's kind of like when the fungi eat the plastic. Like the mushrooms that we eat plastic, the fungi. It's like that's cool, but the issue with bacteria and fungi is they're slow. That's the issue. We put out so much plastic every day, let alone all the plastic that's already in the ocean, right? That I don't think that's going to be quick enough. To be honest with you, it is a solution. But on top of that, there are so many different types of plastic, and every type of plastic has a different type of molecular structure. So you might make a fungi or bacteria that can eat a water bottle, but it can't eat a detergent bottle. It can't eat a water bottle cap, right? Those are two different types of plastics. The water bottle and the cap are two completely different types of plastics with different types of molecular structures. So you got to have something that can do it all. And unfortunately, there's very few bacteria that can do it all, or fungi. So unfortunately, pyrolysis might be the only option we got when it comes to truly converting our plastic into something actually useful, right? Beehive, thank you very much for the badge on Instagram. I appreciate you and your contribution to the project and to history. Let's let the next person in here on the Instagram. You said the tie is fire. Thank you, Morbid. It's like a carburetor that can run forever. Yeah, I heard about that carburetor. What's up?
What was good?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. What about you?
Good. I just have a question on like how much plastic and stuff you would need to like produce like enough oil for one car.
Well, the conversion rate is about 20 pounds of plastic to a gallon, right? So depends on the car you have. If your car is a 20-gallon tank, that's 400 pounds of plastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Is that your question?
And so like the other guy said, you could just put anything organic in it.
Anything organic. Jason Ramirez, thank you for the $15. He said, for the movement. I appreciate you, Jason Ramirez, for the $15 cash app. So yes, anything organic will go in there and make fuel. The difference is, since plastics come from crude oil, they give you some of the best fuels. Plastic, tires, nylon, anything that comes from crude oil gives you the best fuels. If I were to put like some food in there, I would really only get natural gas, for example. I wouldn't get gasoline.
It is in plastic, the higher oil you get out of it.
What was that?
The higher the product is in plastic, the more oil you'll get.
Well, not just plastic. The higher the product is in the hydrocarbon chain, the length of the hydrocarbon chains, which dictates how much energy is within it, right? So that's really the main thing, because plastic has way more energy in it than a piece of toast, right?
Yeah.
And a piece of cotton. So if I put a piece of cotton in there, it can only have so much energy extracted from it versus the plastic has a ton. And that's how we are able to get more energy out without breaking the law of thermodynamics, because we're not creating the energy. We're just pulling it from something that already has energy in it.
All right, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, thank you. Guys, we're on Discord as well. Everybody in YouTube and Facebook, if you guys want to come in and join and ask questions, we are on Discord as well now. So you can click that link I sent that's pinned. You could join the Discord, and then you'll be able to come in and ask your question as well live, like you've heard these other people. Let me see. So Jason Ramirez, thank you again for the $15. He said for the movement. Definitely for the movement. Zach to be okay. Thank you very much for the badge on Instagram. I appreciate you. What's up, Sergio? What's up, James Brown on Facebook? Much love to you as well. Yeast grows exponentially. At the start, it's slow. That's true. That's true. You know, I think the best thing about something like yeast or using fungi is the fact that they will get everywhere. You know, because I can go to the ocean and collect plastic, right? Thank you very much for the badge memory on Instagram. You're always getting badges. You as well, Zach. I appreciate you guys for your contribution to the project and Earth. But yeah, so think about it. My machine turns plastic waste into fuel. But we have to get the plastic waste first, right? Get it from the ocean. You can get a net, the best net ever, and you still have some little bits left over, right? But guess what? If we say bacteria, they're going to get every little bit, to the smallest bit, right? Because they're so small themselves. So bacteria might be something great to do after. Like, we get all the big parts out of the ocean. Then we just throw the bacteria everywhere to deal with all the small bits, right? I think that's the best thing. Are you self-taught? Yes, I'm self-taught. I'm not self-taught in engineering. I'm self-taught in the chemistry of this. But I guess it is engineering too. So, yeah. Pretty much in all forms, I'm self-taught. Guys on Discord, welcome everybody. If you want to come in and ask questions, you just have to raise your hand on the Discord. And then I'll know that you're ready to ask your question. I'll let you in. Let's let the next person in here on the Instagram. I'll let you in next, James Brown on Discord. What's up?
How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. What about you?
Doing great. Thanks for answering.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are your plans for trying to turn this into a process that is actually more industrial? Have you thought about trying to work with counties and actually take their recycling and turn it into fuel for them? It seems like something they'd be interested in, be willing to pay you for.
Yeah, so in terms of taking it industrial, you got to think business, right? Because in terms of the design of the machine and stuff, it pretty much was set. As long as Mark 4.5 is proven to work, we're good in terms of design of the machine. Profit-wise, business-wise, it's primarily we want to get money by taking in plastic, right? We want to get money in selling the carbon product. We want to get money, and we want to use the natural gas product that we get from the machine to run the machine itself, right? And we want to get money from selling the oil, whether we're refining the oil ourselves and then selling that directly, or we're just selling the unrefined oil to refineries to then refine it and sell it at the pump. But we want to get money off the back end of this like 3 different ways. And then, guess what? We're going to get money for carbon credits because we're actually reducing carbon, reducing CO2 as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get this to be fine in terms of the industrial scale. And the good thing is, look, you can go on Google right now and look up pyrolysis plants. There's plants that already are doing, they're already a business. So the fact that I'm doing something that's innovative in the field in the sense of the efficiency levels, and this is already a viable business, is only going to make it even better.
Yeah, no, like, what are your, like, next practical steps? I'm actually, like, a business owner. Me and some buddies started a solar installation company in the last year, been installing solar panels, all about green, sustainable stuff here. So,
for sure.
Like, what are, like, the next steps? Like, I'm curious.
Well, I would say,
if possible.
I would say the next steps are doing exactly what I'm doing, continuing to really publicize it, because I truly believe that, like, I can build the best machine, but if people don't want it, it's not going to be able to be there, right? People have to be behind it, so continue to publicize it and continue to build the design I'm building to make sure that we got all the kinks worked out to where when we build it big, it's safe, right? We want to make sure
explosions on high.
Yeah, right. Because like I'm telling people this, I'm like, like I had that small explosion happen, but like even a small explosion like that, we have a machine 100x the size. Even a small explosion is rocking the neighborhood. So you don't want that. You don't want to deal. You don't even want to have that as a possibility. So that's kind of the reason why I think that doing exactly what I'm doing now is probably the best route. Getting this fleshed out, making a ton of products with this, getting it continue to be publicized. So by the time the funding is secured for Mark V, first industrial machine, it all just kind of polishes itself out.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
All right, let me let you in now, Prophet, on the Discord. All right, I invited you to speak, Prophet. Hopefully the my speaker works on Discord, because sometimes it doesn't. What's up? Yeah, I can hear you.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing extravagant. Thank you.
So I just wanted to drop in to say I love everything you're doing, bro. It's literally the bleeding edge. I love this shit. It's great. So I just wanted to ask, number one, what's your strategy for the legal side of it? Have you already gotten a few patents down, and then are you just making the Mark V and then transitioning into a more industrial type thing, or just what's your plan?
So I do have a patent filed. I'm patent pending, right? And that's on a design that has not been shown online. Every design I have shown online, including Mark 4.5, is completely open source, just so everybody knows. But the goal is, so I'm building Mark 4.5. Mark 5 is going to be the first pilot plant, you could say, right? The first industrial-sized plant. And from that point, so the goal is to build Mark 4.5 to further prove this idea works. And hopefully through that, whether it's through publicity or through revenue or some type of thing, right? Or even crowdfunding, we raise the money, we get the money to build Mark 5. Because I could have just immediately gone right to Mark 5, but I would have to give up a ton of my company in equity, right? And we don't want to do that. We live in a day and age where you can literally, people make millions off of literally just views, right? So it's like, we got to figure out a different way. So I believe that building Mark 4.5, doing some crazy experiments like running jets and boats and stuff off of the fuel from plastic, we'll be able to get Mark 5 built. We built Mark 5, and then once Mark 5 is built, a first ever pilot plant that has been proven, you can make the rest of the money off of pre-orders, right? At that point, and boom, get all the money you need. That's what Tesla did. Get all the money you need to then build the next machines and then push them out. Give them to the governments and the people that want them. Thank you for the badge, late loon. I appreciate you. So yeah, that's what my plan is.
So nice. So are you planning on running this, kind of being the leader of it through this whole expansion, or are you planning on just kind of letting back and letting other companies, once you've gotten the design and you've sold it off and got those pre-orders, are you taking a step back, or are you just running it up?
Well, my goal is to get, the plastic out the ocean. So, until I do that, then I'm going to still be overseeing, You know, because think about it. There's enough plastic produced in your city to make the machine worth it to get, right? You don't have to go into the oceans. But the whole reason I started this was for the oceans. So I'm going to stay, you know, managing the company. So my mission in the company is complete. And at that point, it's like, you know, I don't believe in trying to gatekeep the technology and trying to be like, oh my goodness, we're the only people. People want to copy it. People want to be, you know, whatever, have their own, they could do it. Because ultimately, we're going to get rid of plastic waste all collectively together. You know, I kind of see it like, you know, think about how many electric cars there are. Think about the different brands, right? But when I say Tesla, you say, oh, that's like the best electric car, right? That's the same thing here, right? There'll be a ton of other people doing this with the same thing, my same microwaves, because I've shown my design online already, right? Even though I have a patented design, people will still come up with their own. But you're going to know, you get it from NatureJab, it's going to be the best, right? So it's not going to be like the counterfeit. So that's the thing, right? But ultimately, like I said, get it out the ocean is my goal above all else.
Good stuff, man. You're going to blow up, I swear. I can't believe you haven't blown up already.
Well, thank you, man. Definitely on the way up for sure. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, of course, man.
All right, man. You stay blessed. All right, let's say the next person here on Instagram. Where does the solid waste exit the reactor? I literally just have a port that just a hole pretty much that just falls down into. We just use gravity to let it fall out. We don't use the vacuum to suck it out. You can actually look at the machine and you'll see it. Let's see. Let's let in Henry on Instagram. What's up? Hey, much love to New Zealand. What's up?
What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
So, if you're generating gas, right? Can you generate more gas than you use to run the machine? Like, if you had a generator and you were running the generator, could you, like, infinitely power it? How does that work?
Yeah, so the machine, even my past machine actually did, on an energy level, create more gas in kilowatt hours than the amount of kilowatt hours it took to run it, right? But the difference is when you do hook it up to a generator, the generator has losses. The generator wastes like half of the energy. So we have to make quadruple the amount of energy that we're putting in to be able to infinitely run it off of a generator. But that's my goal for the current machine I'm building now, to make triple to quadruple the amount of energy input for that exact reason.
Can it do it? Or can you get a more efficient generator?
I mean, you know, we're at a point in time where these engines are becoming their peak efficiency pretty much. I mean, no matter how you put it, internal combustion engines will always have a lot of inefficiencies. The next step is to have a turbine, right? That's more efficient. But ultimately, you know, obviously I'm not at the position to have a humongous turbine, right? I think the best thing I could do is just do my part on making my machine itself as efficient as possible. And since with the machine not even being continuous, we were getting double, when we make the machine continuous, we could get triple, quadruple the energy input. So that's what the hypothesis is, and that's what we're going to see.
Sweet. Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question. Cheers.
Yeah.
Have you experimented with catalysts such as carbon black, sulfide, moly sulfide water, ruthenium oxide, zeolite? I have done zeolite. I have done carbon black. In fact, carbon black is one of the things that comes from the plastic, so I actually mix the plastic with it, so that's always in there. I also do activated carbon. We are doing vacuum. The machine is under vacuum now when we run it. It's not pressurized, though. You said, why not recycle the kinetic energy generated? What kinetic energy? There's no kinetic energy generated in this process except for the fans running. What's up, Chris? Let's see. I love your channel. Gas is going to hit $2 per liter here, and I'm planning on building a reactor for myself. My question is, how do you protect yourself from any potential toxic gases? So when the machine is operating properly, there's no leaks. There's no toxic gases being emitted, right? But when you have explosions happen, like what happens to me, or you have leaks happen, you got to put on a really good respirator. That's the best way to protect yourself. I like to cover my hair too, because, you know, if it ends up in your hair, you're going to be breathing in the stuff off of your hair. So yeah, just got to stay safe in that sense of the word. But ultimately, when the machine operates properly, there's no leaks anyway. So you're not going to have toxic gases escaping. It's all controlled. So that's kind of the best part about pyrolysis, right? But that's not even an issue that you have to worry about when it's how it's supposed to operate. All right, let's let in Michael on the Instagram here. Michael, you're up. If you got the invite there. And you guys on Discord, if you guys want to come in, just raise your hand and I'll let you in. What about radiation? Well, microwave radiation is non-ionizing, meaning it does not cause cancer. It just heats things up. So microwave radiation is not a concern. Because, and also on top of that, microwaves reflect off of metal, so that the container is completely metal and the microwaves don't escape.
Oh,
What's up?
what's up, man? How you been?
Hey, I'm doing great. What about you?
Oh, pretty good. So I have a question about, you were talking about the reactor. Like, I've been watching your videos. I see how you got that extra canister and welded it, right? I've been watching all of it. What's if you hypothetically had all the money in the world, like, what would it take to build, like, the best version of that?
The best version would literally just be everything we've seen, but with the better budget to where it can be done properly. So, like, I built these blades by hand with thin metal. If I had the money, I would have them completely laser cut, every single one, or water jet, super precise, with thick metal that won't ever, that's immalleable. I would have the best types of valves. It'll be completely digitized and just an automatic control panel. I mean, like, those things are expensive, but, like, that is the ideal thing that I would want.
Right, I see what you mean. So, because, like, the way I've seen you post it now, it's like, I mean, how many feet long is it at this point?
It's almost 9 foot. It's 8.5 about.
Right. So, like, if you were going to build it, would you just basically just blow it up from there, like, bigger diameter, longer? Is that, like, sort of how it would be, or would it be, like, a different shape? Like, how would that work?
So here's the cool thing, right? This design, even the design I'm building now, is literally just a step up from my last design. The last design I had, Mark IV, cracked the code. So now, from now on, the design is pretty much the same, just bigger and bigger, with better and better, technologies, or you could say accuracies in it, precision.
So is it something that, like, is it always going to have to be, like, just like a long, like a stick shape, whether it's circular or not, or could it ever be something that's, like, circular? You see what I mean? Because I'm not sure how that works.
Well, with how the blades are in there, I've never seen circular auger blades work before.
Oh, okay.
You know, the blades are pretty much the whole reasoning for why it's horizontal to begin with and why it's long to begin with.
Right.
Because of how the blades
it would be better to make it bigger diameter than longer, basically, is what it is.
No, you want to make it longer. You want to make it as long as possible, right? Because then you can fit in as much plastic. You do want to make the diameter bigger, but you also want to make the machine longer too, based on how much plastic is going in. So, like, I personally, what I see is almost like, think about, like, those tanker trucks with those big tanks on the back that haul the gasoline. Think about, like, if that was a reactor, right? Like, that's kind of what I see the bigger reactors pretty much being like. That same size, pretty much, with all the stuff mounted, blades on the inside.
Interesting. I have one last question before I go. So, obviously, what you've been talking about, your goal is to get plastic out of the ocean.
Right.
Right. And I think that's awesome, right? Like my dad, I'm originally from Florida. I live in Pittsburgh now. My dad is the head of this organization for the county there. I live where the Space Center, like Kennedy Space Center and stuff is, right? And he is head of this company, or the program called the Environmentally Endangered Lands Program. So conservation's always been really important to me, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious what you think about, like, climate change, how they say it, versus, like, conservation environmentalism. Like, do you see the point? You know what I mean? Like, because everyone's so worried about.
I think that it actually
change.
I think that people.
It seems more logical to me, right?
I think that if we're purely speaking in terms of, like, an argumentative standpoint, all this climate change stuff is more emotional, while conservationism is more logical. Because when you actually look at a lot of the things, you really break down the science and a lot of these, all the CO2 stuff, you're actually, like, it's kind of like you're trading off one thing for another, because they're like, oh, we're going to offset all this CO2 with us planting more trees. So now all of a sudden that excuses us creating a ton of emissions and then throwing all of our toxic waste in the rivers just because we have no carbon footprint. Like, it's like, turning a blind eye just for the sake of that name. No carbon,
Right.
Well, environmental conserving the environment is purely like that's the goal. Like we're not trying to reduce carbon, we're not trying to get this carbon credit or have this badge. No, we're trying to figure out how can we get rid of this waste without destroying the environment. How can we create this thing without destroying the environment? How can we, whatever we do, that's the focus, that's the goal, not just a byproduct, which is like CO2, which is not even the worst greenhouse gas. There's way worse ones like methane that come off of plastic and just sit. So that's what I think about that stuff personally.
Yes. I agree with that. I appreciate it, man. That was nice to hear. I'll keep watching you.
Thank you. Much love to you, and great questions, by the way.
Appreciate it, man. See you later.
All right. Yeah, great questions for sure. You said, why ain't you put me on yet? Devin, I don't see where you're trying to come in. Devin, are you trying to come in on Discord? I got the Discord pinned on, what is it? Yeah, I got the Discord pinned on Facebook. You come into the Discord, you join the chat, raise your hand, and I'll let you in, Devin. My mom always told me not to stand by microwaves while it's going. You're telling me she was lying this whole time? Well, no. See, don't get me wrong. Microwaves are 2.45 gigahertz. Microwaves are the same frequency as Wi-Fi. It's not good for you, but it's not going to give you cancer because it's non-ionizing. But it's not good for you. You shouldn't keep your head near a microwave. You shouldn't be near it when it's on, right? I'm not near my machine when it... Look, whenever I run tests on my machine, the microwaves are on the other side of me. I'm intentionally putting all my microwaves on one side of the machine, so that way I don't have to be even near the things, because there was some residual leaks. But it's not going to give you cancer. It's not going to kill you, right? The worst thing it's going to do is heat up your balls, heat up your eyeballs, right? And I would say that's not even a bad thing, because if it heats up your balls, well, now my balls are warm, so when they go in your mouth, it won't be as much of a shock. You won't get cold shocks from cold balls, right? Graylin Gaines, thank you for the $20 on Cash App. Graylin, you're always donating. I appreciate you so much, truly. For the contribution to the project and history, you have helped so much. In fact, every single person here, you've all helped so much. I want to thank everybody, and thank everybody that's donated as well, because you guys, you make this process possible, truly. So I do have to every single time express my gratitude, because yeah, I mean, like this is my absolute dream right here, to be able to work on this machine like this, and get it to where it needs to be. This technology ultimately, right? Because I've studied this for a while. I've done the research, and something I guarantee every single one of you is that it is suppressed. You said first alive. What's up, 1, 2, 3? You said you're already mentioning balls. Hey, like I said, listen, because some people might be confused. I mentioned the balls because it's something we all know. Balls are universal. Look, building a microwave pyrolysis reactor in your backyard is not universal, right? That's something that we may not be able to relate to, but we all can relate to balls. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what language you speak. Mis bolas, right? It doesn't matter, right? As well, we use this, but that's why TikTok banned me too. That's why TikTok banned my live stream, because they weren't ready, and that's what it is, and that's okay too, because I'm gonna continue. Yeah, you said you don't relate, memory? Yes, you do relate. We all relate. What's up?
Hello.
Hey.
I wanted to ask, do you have plans for making this commercially available? Like, for example, if someone wanted to, in some remote community, convert their own plastic that they, let's say they have like 60 kilos lying around or whatever, rather than just only doing it in like big industrial settings, such as like, cities, and having like a facility where plastic is processed.
The machines I've built, right? Every single one has been built in my backyard, and they've been running off of my house power, standard 120. So proving that the machines can be built on a small level has already been done, right? That's how I started. So in terms of doing that, it's not even a matter of, can they be built like that, or is there a small design? There's a small design that works. It's more of a matter of, is it even legal for me to sell them to small people, Because they don't even let you sell a moonshine still to people, right? Let alone making your own gas. Untaxable gas. You think Uncle Sam is going to like that?
I suppose that does... wasn't asking so much about if it's possible, but if there were plans to do that kind of distribution. But yeah, bringing up the idea of like, well, you know, you can't distill things, you know, willy-nilly. That makes a lot of sense.
Right, because look, like, I'll say it like this. If Uncle Sam found out I was giving people the machine to make untaxable, unpolitical fuel in their backyard, he would try to diddy me. Keep it real.
What was the last part?
Uncle Sam would try to diddy me if he knew that I was giving people the devices to make untaxable and non-political fuel in their backyard. That's just too much.
I think a lot of those jokes being made in the comments, has that ever been a concern?
Oh no, not for me. No, it's been the other way around. These agencies worry about me and what I may do to their esophagus.
Yeah, I guess who is your biggest opposition in this project? Because I would imagine there's backlash or people trying to.
I would say the biggest opposition.
Profit off of this not being an immediate thing.
Yeah, I would say the biggest opposition, because I've done some due diligence on other plants that are existing, are ironically the environmental people, like these carbon people and stuff, the carbon emission, CO2 emission people, because they're like, oh my goodness, you're taking plastic out of the ocean, but you're just turning it into fuel that's CO2. Oh, it's so bad for the environment that you're making CO2. You know, those are the biggest people.
Like it's worth for it to be in the atmosphere than it is the ocean, and they don't understand.
Yeah, we're not putting plastic in the atmosphere because it's being completely chemically changed to something different. John Smith, thank you for the $5 for Money Maximilian. So yeah, like that's what it's a misunderstanding of it.
What changes when, like, I know you have like at least first sketches, blueprints of the industrial design. Where would you attempt to, like, because you have to pick a place to do it first. Where would you start the first, like, industrial facility, plant, whatever you call it?
Well, you know, there's permitting. You know, you can't just start it anywhere. So it's going to be, you know, because I'm all about doing things right. You know, I'm not just going to go behind the back of the permitting and stuff. So I don't know where I would be able to build it. It would have to be a specifically zoned land. Maybe some land zoned for agriculture or industrial processes. I'm not really sure because it incorporates so much. It's incorporating waste management and recycling with petrochemical products. So it's kind of like a never seen before mix together. Like this, you never heard of a landfill that's making gasoline, right? So, you know, it's a weird thing that I'll have to kind of figure out as I get to that point. But the point is, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Going live, making videos, because here's the thing. With me publicizing this and letting as many people know about this as possible, by the time I get to this point where we're going to do industrial, when I need to get the permitting things, it's going to be politically in my favor because everybody's like, oh yeah, I know that dude makes gasoline from plastic. Let him do it. We want him. We're just not going to be a bunch of people saying, no, I don't want him over there doing this. It's going to be people saying, I heard about him. I've seen him online. I like what he does. I respect it. Let him build that machine right there. So then the mayor, governor, they're going to sign off. Boom, we're set because they're already, you know, people are already behind it, right? I'm not trying to convince people.
Do you plan for this? Like, let's say you were contracted for your design. Is the idea that it would go to like governments, or is the hope to privatize it and make it a company that is sustainable energy but for profit?
It's definitely going to be a for-profit company, but the machines themselves will be sold to governments, businesses, you know, even small and large businesses to a certain degree, but especially governing bodies, especially, there's a lot of countries that will eat this up. Countries in the Middle East, India, China. Well, China already has a lot of pyrolysis reactors, but, you know, maybe some other small Asian nations, they would love this type of thing. So, you know, that's the idea. We're going to sell the machines themselves, but also there's another business model too. I could actually have my own plants and sell the products from my own plant. But the number one thing we want to worry about this machine, right, is that we're getting rid of plastic waste. That's the number one selling point, right? That's the best part because when you think about it, plastic waste, especially in other countries, is literally becoming detrimental to their everyday life when it's clogging up the rivers. Yeah, like it's literally, it's not even a matter of, it's kind of like, it's a matter of national security, right? So even beyond the fact that we're making fuel or whatever, like there are certain countries where they have to get rid of their plastic waste for the survival of their people. So if we're able to give a device that's safely and environmentally friendly and very controlled, gets rid of plastic waste, but also happens to make fuel, then that's great. But, you know, like that's not even the point. Like the fuel's not even the point for those type of people. When it comes to somewhere like America, we're all about money. Now you got to talk fuel efficiencies, all this, right? But the good thing is, no matter what, no matter how you put it, you're taking plastic waste, we're getting rid of it, and we're making fuel. So no matter how you do it, it's a great deal. Hey, but listen, I gotta let some other people in. I appreciate your questions, man, and your support as well. You take care.
Thank you.
For sure, for sure. All right. Let's see. Yeah, John Smith, thank you for the $5 on Cash App. I appreciate you. He said Money Maximilian. Well, we're the Trillionaires Club. You know what's up. All right, Matt Max on Discord, you're up. Come in here and ask your questions, Matt Max.
Hey, man, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up? What's your question?
And love your channel. My question is for your microwave reactor, how many watts of power do you use? And is it possible to redirect the flammable gas that comes out to a small generator and let that generator power your magnetrons? That way it's like a self-sustaining reactor. I don't know if have you ever thought of something like that?
Yeah, and that's the goal for my next machine. So my last machine, Mark IV, ran off of 3 magnetrons that were roughly about 3,000 watts or 3 kilowatt hours of magnetrons, right? So my next machine, we're going to be going up to 8 to 12. So with it being 3 magnetrons on Mark IV could be run off of a small generator with a natural gas product, right? Once you get to 8 to 12 magnetrons, you're going to need a big generator, right? At that point, because now you're talking about generators that can run a whole house, right? So that's what we're going to be getting for Mark 4.5, because like I said, we're going to be running between 8 to 12 magnetrons, which will be 8,000 to 12,000 watts or 8 to 12 kilowatts. But the idea is, here's my hypothesis, right? With Mark 4.5 being the first continuously operating machine, and also with me seeing that the biggest product we get from this process is actually the gas product, like the natural gas product. We get the most of it. Put those two things together, continuous efficiency combined with a ton of natural gas, we'll be able to produce enough natural gas at such a conversion rate to where, yes, we will be able to sustainably run the machine off of the literal natural gas it creates. That's the goal. We haven't done it yet, but that is the goal for the next machine.
One more question. Down the line, do you have plan on expanding your business to Canada? Out here right now, our prime minister is taxing us like crazy carbon tax. That's adding like 17-18 cents per liter. Do you think your business can help us, on the other side of the board?
Yeah, so the idea with this technology is to bring it everywhere, every single country. Now, in terms of, when we start to talk about taxes of fuels, we start to get very political. And the truth of the matter is, I can bring this technology anywhere in the world, but if you start to get political, it really isn't going to do anything to the politics, because the prices of gas are very tied to politics and war and the global status. So if I come in here with a technology that all of a sudden brings your $4-5 a liter down to just $1 a liter, all of a sudden, it would probably cause a war, a civil war. Some weird things would happen that we can't even really imagine, just because of how political the gas prices are. So I would say this machine, I would love for it. I'm all about that in this world, right? I would love for this machine to bring down the prices of gas, but I just can't say that's a realistic reality because it would throw off so many things, let alone get the gas companies mad too, right? So ideally, the best thing about this machine will be that at the least it does is it will keep gas prices the same, right? Hopefully they don't go up any more than they already have, right? And on top of that, we're getting rid of plastic waste.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you very much for your question. Much love. All right. The pyramid of Giza has a shaft that resembles the outlet of a magnetron. If you place it at the right distance, you know what? Humbala on 93. If you look at a magnetron, the magnetron cavity, the shape of it is very geometric. Like it looks kind of like a crop circle. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, yeah, that's a different tangent to go down, but it's very interesting how certain things are shaped certain ways, even in our modern technologies. There are things that the same shapes that we can see in things built by ancient civilizations. I'm just saying everything's connected, you know. Jason, thank you for the $5 on Cash App. He said the future is now. I appreciate you very much, Jason. And indeed, the future is now. Like I said in that video, Back to the Future is now. Real talk. How much do you need? How much plastic do you need? Or how much you need plastic and carbon to make a gallon of gas? It's about 20 pounds to a gallon in my Mark IV machine. Mark 4.5 should be better, but I can only tell you what I've done. They got Al Capone on taxes. Exactly, A&G. That's exactly what I'm saying. Think about it, guys. They couldn't get Al Capone on all the other things he did, but they got him on taxes. So what I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you that I could not legally give you a machine that lets you make untaxable fuel. Because fuel is so political. That is what gets you. You know, people want to say making the machine is not going to get me. There are already companies that made the machine, right? You know, I'm doing the microwaves that hasn't been done yet at a large industrial scale with plastic, but there are companies that have done pyrolysis, turning plastic into waste industrially. But when we talk about getting to a point where you're like really starting to empower people, look, guys, let me tell you something consistent you can see anywhere. Look at anything in the world and look at self-sufficiency, and you will notice that self-sufficiency is always either suppressed or completely shut down, and that's with any field. Whether you're making your own fuel, whether you're growing your own food, they always shut it down because they always want you to be reliant on the system for things. I'll say it like that. So, and here's the thing, right? Because we got little solar panels or whatever. We got little windmill. But why in the world is it not even commonplace for biodiesel that you can make yourself? That's not even common knowledge how to do that. Shouldn't we all know how to make our own diesel out of vegetable? Wouldn't that be an amazing skill to know if all the power goes out, right? If something happens, a solar flare. So then when somebody comes along and is like, okay, well now I'm making a design of a machine that's efficient enough for you to efficiently convert your plastic waste, or any waste for that matter, into fuel at home, untaxable, unregulated, non-political fuel that you don't have to go to work for and you don't have to blow up a whole nation for. Then you start to get a little bit dangerous because they shut down people for just teaching people how to homestead. You can't even, there's people on TikTok that get shut down for just teaching people how to homestead and grow your own food and animals. Like we all should know how to anyway. Let alone somebody coming on telling you or giving you a technology you can buy that will do that for you. They will absolutely, the process of pyrolysis is already suppressed. We already knew how to turn plastic into fuel since the day we made plastic. We already knew how to do this, but yet, and okay, it's one thing to be like, okay, some people might be like, okay, the process of pyrolysis is old, but it doesn't work. Okay, so it doesn't work. There's a lot of other scientific processes that are irrelevant to us to this day, yet we know about them. We're taught about them in school. Pyrolysis, whether it works or does not work, we're not taught about it in school. That's why I'm even in a position I am now where I'm talking to everybody, because there's a shock factor that brought you in, because you're like, you could turn plastic into fuel. To anybody that is studied chemistry or has done any due diligence, they're like, yeah, of course you can. We already knew about this. But to most people, the common man, 9 out of 10 people don't know about even what the word pyrolysis is. They don't even, I would tell you to spell pyrolysis, you would spell paralysis. Like I paralyzed you, you know? And that's the key. Information, education, right? It's not even about what I'm doing. Forget what I'm doing. Forget about the machine I'm building. The most important part is that you're knowing it's possible. The most important part is that you're learning something that I believe is being suppressed. Because why in the world are we not even told about it when there's so many other sciences that we don't even do anymore? Look, everybody knows about lead to gold, right? That's not even something they do. Lead into gold, right? But that was like from ancient Egypt, right? We're not doing alchemy nowadays, yet we all know about that. But you don't know about pyrolysis, turning something into energy. That's just like, we learn about the law of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Why don't you think we're learning about pyrolysis? Because that's a complete continuation of the law of thermodynamics. We're not destroying the energy. We're transforming the energy from waste into usable fuels, right? So I just don't understand why it's not public knowledge. I don't care why it's not public knowledge, because I'm going to make it public knowledge. And that's what I do above all else. That's why we educate. That's why I share it all. And that's why it's open source too. Because it's like, you know, I truly believe, for the sake of all of humanity, anything that is, you know, it doesn't even matter. Because, like, here's the thing, right? If something doesn't work, you can always make it work. We're always at the precipice of the next big thing. Did you guys know that electric cars were a thing before gas cars? But yet, they didn't start to take off until now. Right? Until now. That's what I'm saying. The same thing is electric. There was a time when there were more electric cars on the road than gas cars on the road. But they were not good. They were inefficient. They didn't work. But guess what? It took they were always on the precipice of the right person, the right company coming along and doing it the right way. And now we got Tesla out here. Now we got every car making electric cars. It's going to be the same with this. It doesn't matter if it didn't work before. It's always been on the precipice of how can we do it? How can we do it? How can we do it? It's all about trying. That's literally what science is. Science is, okay, we proved this, we disproved this, now let's prove this, and then we can disprove that. It's always just the same fight, back and forth, cat and mouse, cat and mouse. But when you suppress something and people never know about it, then there's no science, because now there's less innovation. There's less back and forth, because now it's just pyrolysis was disproven. That's it. There's no science that comes along. No, we proved it worked. Then no, now we disprove. Now we prove again. No, there's none of that, because it's been suppressed, so it was disproven, and now no other scientists heard about it to come along and say, wait a minute, let's prove a different way. So pyrolysis was disproven as inefficient. Now I'm coming along as a scientist and saying, no, I want to prove it is efficient with microwaves. And somebody's going to come along, no, I disprove that with this. Then blank, we just go back and forth. And then before you know it, we have the best pyrolysis plants in the whole world, just because of competition of the scientific method to make things better. It's the same thing in business. That's why competition is amazing for any technology ever. That's why I say it's actually better if people copy my machine and compete with me on a business level, because then it's going to get the process itself better, right? Just because something hasn't been done before right does not mean it can't be done right tomorrow. Does not mean anything. There's so many things we have. Look, I'll say it like this, right? Because there's so many things that we have nowadays that you would have never even guessed had been failed a few years ago. Just a few decades ago, they were completely written off and failed. But if people had the mindset of it never will work because it didn't work this time, we'd be nowhere in this world right now. Nowhere. But it's the idea of the scientific mind of saying, let's try something else. Let's keep trying. Let's keep working out the kinks. So everything has to be possible some way. That's what gets you anywhere, right? When it comes to technology. That's exactly what I'm saying. And what I'm most importantly doing is inspiring others, because I can only do so much. I'm only here for so long for the process, right? But what's going to ultimately happen is we already have so many people building microwave pyrolysis reactors. Every live, there's somebody in this saying I'm building one. We had somebody on Facebook saying he's building one, right? So what's going to happen is, even long after I'm gone, not doing it anymore, there's going to be other people is continuing to carry the torch, continuing to pioneer. That's, you know. Bobby, thank you for the $5 on Cash App. He said, I'm so proud of you. Let's save the world. Absolutely. That's what it's about. And that's why this is changing the world. And that's why this is saving the world. Not because I'm building a machine, not because I'm telling you about this, but because I'm telling you and instilling within you the idea that what is right for all of humanity is not to suppress anything. I don't care if it didn't work. I don't care if it never will work. There should never be suppression of anything. We all as humans have the right to every process that has ever existed and ever will exist, because this is our earth just as much as it is the earth of the people that run everything, right? There's nobody that should be able to tell you what you can and can't know. That's not right. So, and I'm proving that us as people have the actual power, because they can suppress it all they want. But guess what? Then somebody comes along. I'm going to post it on social media anyway. I'm going to build it in my backyard anyway. I don't care if they say, because look, when I started microwave pyrolysis, All you could find online of microwave pyrolysis was scientific lab scales, not even pictures, just research papers. That's it. So in that moment, to me, I'm like, I don't even know if it was possible to build it in your backyard by hand, because there was none of that. None, zero, not even research papers mentioned building it in your backyard by hand. Literally just scientific research papers of science lab scale machines, very small microwave reactors, lab scale. But guess what? I said, you know what? It may not be possible, but I'm going to be the one to learn if it isn't possible. So I say the same thing now every day when people tell me, this won't work, this won't work. I say, okay, it may not work, but I'm going to be the one to figure out. You're not going to be the one to make me figure out. I'm going to figure out if it doesn't work, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to build it, and I'm going to see it with my own eyes, with my own bloody eyes, that it doesn't work. And then guess what? When it doesn't work, guess what I'm going to do? Go on to the next thing. Oh, maybe microwaves won't work. Let's use some solar lenses next. If that doesn't work. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's use, who knows what's next? Let's use the heat from a nuclear reactor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just keep going. You keep trying. You never give up. You never just submit to anything. You never submit to giving up, because that's what true science is. And every single scientist that has been successful, you will notice they have some type of obsessiveness to them. They have an obsessiveness of, I want to find it out. And that's the same thing we got going here. You said it already exists, it just can't be trusted with the masses? Or you guys are talking about a flying car. You said, when will we see Mark 5? I would like to start construction of Mark 5 near the end of this year and finish Mark 5 construction probably around the summer of next year. That's the goal. What's up, Richie K on Twitch? What's up, Squirn on Twitch? That's the goal. But we'll see. Depends on how well Mark 4.5 does. You said everybody talks about Nikola Tesla but never seen his works. Exactly. And if you study Nikola Tesla, you'll notice that he was obsessed with his work. He was a little cuckoo. But you gotta be cuckoo. You gotta be cuckoo, because think about it. 99% of people don't invent things. So if you invent things, you're in that pool of like 0.1% of people. So surely, if you're in a pool of 0.1% people, there's more than just the reason why you built something while you're in that low percentage of people. It's probably because you're weird too in ways. But being weird is good in ways too. So, but the truth of the matter is, yeah, people talk about Nikola Tesla all the time, but they haven't studied, him and his work and all these things. And there's a lot more behind it. I'll tell you firsthand, there's so much more behind it, so much more than meets the eye with everything. There's so much more of a story. And you can look at Nikola Tesla and his character and how he acted, and you can start to put together the fact that, okay, anybody can really just build something. Let's be real, right? But not anybody can truly build something, because there's a difference, like, between just like building something and really just truly being there, obsessed. You're hurting, but you just keep doing it. Your hands are cramping, your back is hurting, you just keep doing it. You just put it together and it blew up on you, but you just keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference, right? Not everybody can do that, but the people that can have certain traits. Edison, Thomas Edison, I don't know how many day trials he had before he got the light bulb filament right. I mean, who knows if he was the one who actually even found it. Knock on wood with that. I can't go too deep into that, but according to him, he had a ton of trials before he got that light bulb filament, like thousands of different materials. But he didn't give up. He didn't be like, oh, the light bulb will never work because we already proven that using cotton is not efficient. No, he was like, I'm going to dry age bamboo for 10 years and just doing the most random crap ever until you've made it work. And I'm saying it's the same thing with this. The same thing in anything in your life that you do. It's not even about a machine. Your life is an invention. You are an invention, right? So, because every single person is different. Every single person is unique. So you are an invention, right? So it's the same thing. You have to be the same. You have to have that perseverance in you. You have to have that. And you also have to have the ability. Because here's the truth of the matter, right? There is an inevitable human psychology. It's inevitable. And we've said it since the beginning of time. If you're doing something, if you're telling people about what you're doing, people are going to always have stuff to say. There will always be somebody that will try to push you down, right? Always. But you have to have the ability to either not tell people what you're doing, move in silence, which is very powerful, or if you're somewhere like me, where you're kind of utilizing people knowing what you're doing to help what you're doing, We have to have the ability to just be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because you go within at the end of the day. You completely internalize your success and focus on your success and really nothing else, because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day anybody else's path, because you're on your own path, and we're all on our own paths. We're all our unique person and invention. So it doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't care or doesn't like what you're doing, or doesn't believe what you're doing. All that matters is if you believe what you're doing, you care about your work. They're doing their own work. They got their own projects, you know. They got their own projects. But if you're over here worried about their projects, you're not going to be as good on your projects. That's all I'm saying. That's the same mindset you got to apply to all of life. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say when I say this is the true power of this machine, the story. Because when you apply the same mindset to everything else you do in life, well, now maybe you're not an inventor, but everybody has their own art and path they're going to do something amazing for the world, right? We're all seedlings, right? That are going to sprout into amazing and powerful impacts for all of humanity, right? And whatever yours is, you will get there, right? Because it's the same mindset. And I'm sure Nikola Tesla had the exact same mindset. Because I'm sure Nikola Tesla, everybody who ever existed in history and did anything successful ever has always gone through the adversaries. So we don't worry about adversaries. We just worry about the mission. Let me let the next person in here. Hector. Imagine if somebody actually believed and had faith in themselves. Or imagine if people, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, believing in yourself. Self-belief is so powerful. Self-belief is so powerful. And of course, you don't want to extrude it, or construe it, rather, with self-denial. Right? But at the same time, you know, you got to have the internal. You got to have the internal. It's all about internal, right? If you go external, then you're going to be discouraged by people. If you're in self-denial, you're never going to do research on the cons, because everything, there's an inevitable duality. Everything has cons to it. So self-denial is, I believe in what I'm doing, but I'm not even going to look up what could be wrong with my thing and not believe it, that anything is wrong with my thing, right? Self-confidence is, I know what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm doing so much that I'm going to research everything wrong with it, so that way I can continue to make it better, because I truly believe in it so much that no matter what I find out is wrong with what I'm doing, I will figure out a way to make it right. That's true self-confidence right there, right? And that's what you want, because you don't want to be it too far in the balance to where you're not even in a position to where you take criticism at all, right? But if you're relying on anything, on any external force, then you would become discouraged, because you're purely reliant on, I need this person to tell me, or this person to tell me something. For some reason, Instagram is not letting anybody in. I'm an aerospace technology engineer, and I came across your video at 3. I worked for defense companies, and I built pulse engines at home on the side. How much would it be if I wanted some of your fuel to test? Joel, where are you? Because you know what, Joel, I was just on the hunt for a jet engine to put some of my fuel in. So where are you, Joel? Because I'm actually very interested in that for sure. I'm very interested in that, Joel. Where are you located? John Smith, thank you for the $1 donation on Cash App. I appreciate you, John Smith, for your contribution to the project. Is it possible to build this out of masonry? No. It has to be metal. Know thyself. Exactly, Neo. We are the solution to our problems that makes us the creator of our problems. Exactly. It's an inevitable duality. So if you're the creator of your problems, you're the solution to your problems. I mean, it's that simple. It's all internal. But you know, it's hard, because when you do things purely internally, it can be difficult not to become self-centered, because you're going inside, you're going within, you're going to self, know thyself. So how do you do all this stuff, thyself, and not become self-centered? You have to have that balance where you are, you know, your own critic, your own journalist against yourself, where you're like, how can I do that better? How can I do this better? What can I research? I research all the time. Sometimes I spend a few hours a night literally just going through, looking up pyrolysis plants. Cons. Everything wrong with pyrolysis. Why doesn't pyrolysis work? I just sit there, I read that stuff. I read both sides, be like, okay, they're saying all this. This journalist is saying this. That's why I can tell you guys what the biggest problem is when I go industrial is these EPA environmental people, not the actual, it's the exact opposite of what you would think, right? So I sit there, I read that stuff. for the same reason I'm telling you now, because obviously I'm doing something. I'm doing something that I would say is going very well with the machine. The machine is operating, it's running, but you never want to get to a point where you're like, okay, now I can never be shut down. I can never mess up. You always got to be like, okay, I can always improve. I can always be better. But the first step is I have to know what I need to improve on, right? Self-awareness is key. And that's the key to all of this. I don't know what's going on Instagram. I don't think it's letting me let anybody else in, though. Because I'm trying to, but nobody else is being let in.
Hey, yo.
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Word. I just want to say big up to you and thank you for, doing all the work you do. First and foremost. So, yeah, big up. Thank you.
Thank you.
And second off, I just wanted to say, like, something you said reminded me, like, the truth is, like, hella simple. You don't have to explain it. So, like, when you were talking about, like creators versus consumers, like, that just hit home with me hella. Like there's a lot of people, claiming all this and all that, or promoting themselves in certain ways, or just simply not walking the walk like they claim they are. And when you don't shoot the breeze about it, you can just be about it fully. And that's what I mean. Like, when you are a creator, and I see that in yourself, like, ideas just be coming to you, and, like, implementing those dreams into reality, that has to be protected in a certain way. So my question to you is, what are some good mental health tips for, staying authentic to yourself and making sure to only walk that true fire and promote within yourself that highest, not even fulfillment, but like rejuvenation of joy?
That's a really good question, though. Thank you. I would say that it is super important, your mental state and being, because it's all internal, right? So if you're not well mentally within, or your spirit's not right, then everything else around you will not be reciprocated in such a way. So I would say my biggest tips are that you have to, they always say, oh, you gotta love yourself. It's true, though. You do, like, and not just like, you're not just saying, oh, I love myself, but like, you have to truly love yourself, and to the point where you have such honor for yourself, where you're like, okay, this is happening in my life right now, right? But I am not going to allow this thing to make me feel bad, because I love myself so much that I know that if I let this thing take over my mind, it's going to produce cortisol in my body, which is going to make me not feel good. It's going to hurt my body. It's going to hurt I love myself so much that I'm not going to even allow this critique or this person or this thing to cause me stress, because, there's a lot of things we can't control. A lot of things of stress we can't control. But a lot of stress comes from our own mind. And when you get to the point where you love yourself so much, you're like, I'm not even going to allow myself to stress over this thing, because I'm not going to allow my body to be under pressure, my mind to be under pressure unnecessarily. You get to a point, because it's all within. Truly, it's your shift, it's your relay. You can flip that switch on and off too, right? So that's my biggest thing that I say. And I also say, as within, so without, so as within, right? So, even if you're going through something mentally where you're not good, I truly believe that if you make your external environment better, it will be a lot easier to get out of there. So even if I don't feel good, I'm still going to work out. I'm still going to, make sure my environment is clean. I'm still going to dress well, speak well, groom well. I'm not going to let myself let go, right? Just look like that, because that's not going to make it any better, easier, or help you get out of it any easier.
I heard that. Okay, word. No, that's definitely super helpful. What you just said there reminded me of something Isis Wisdom said. Simply, like, sometimes you can be your own boogeyman. Like, sometimes you can, like, have those doubts. Like, I think Elder Malik myself said, like, doubt is the poison of modernity. So, with that being said, a process for me, like, something that I've, tapped into, and kind of something you just reminded me of when you were delving into self-love, is like, don't be your own boogeyman. Like, make sure to strengthen your health and your environment, as you said, that well-being, that ecosystem. But also, like, double check, because sometimes if you are not healed, as far as I've seen, like, your intuition can be misleading. So, like, double checking and making sure that
for sure
your mission is properly directed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you can misprogram yourself. You can misprogram yourself to where your intuition is is seeking things that are not good for you. Once again, if you love yourself and you have that honor for yourself so much, it just becomes to a point where it's like, I'm not going to do this thing that I know hurts me because I really, truly love my body. I love myself. I love my soul, my mindset. I don't want to hurt it unnecessarily.
Felt that. Yeah. I've I've definitely, not fully kind of stepped into, I guess, certain elements of who I am, but yeah, as soon as I started killing some of the distractions, even, like not just starving them out, but making sure no distractions are gonna come back around and bite you. I started actually being able to grow. So I just admire the work you're doing. I really appreciate it. And as you said, grow that respect inside out. Starts with you, and you got that.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something. Just as the last remark here, right? Because ultimately, what we're speaking of is the ultimate state of homeostasis and balance. But if you take a fulcrum, right, 2 weights, it's balanced perfectly. Think about how easy it is to easily make it tilt. So being in balance is a constant state of working on it. Because the minute you just work a little bit too much one side, a little bit too much the other, it so easily gets out of balance, right? It's easy to keep it too much on one side or the other side, but it's hard to keep it right in the middle. It's a lot of work.
No, real talk. Gotta stand firm.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, great question. Thank you very much. And you stay blessed.
I appreciate the answer, yeah.
Absolutely. Joel, you said you're in Louisiana, and I work at Lockheed Martin. I've been excited to find you so I can give you blueprints. Oh, wow, so you're in Louisiana. Because, look, I'm in Georgia, so we're actually not even that far. You know what, Joel? Have you sent me an email, Joel? Because think about it. Think about this, Joel. You send me an email, right? And here's what we'll do. Send me an email. I'm going to make more jet fuel with Mark 4.5. I have a quarter of a gallon now. I'm going to make more. And I can literally come over to Louisiana and we can run the jet engine. Or whatever, vice versa. You come to Georgia. Because we literally were talking about running around the jet engine. So listen, Joel, I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you haven't sent me an email, send me one. And we're gonna get going with that because that's perfect. Because I was on the hunt. I was like, does anybody have a jet engine that they'd be willing to let me test? Like, who does that? Who just has a jet engine? You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna definitely discuss that for sure. That's what's up. Because we're not even that far. That's like 10 hours. Explore the shadow. Neo says. He says, see the shadow, explore the shadow. Exactly. This means war against the corrupted soul, against the ego. Yeah, I mean, it's all within. This is an internal fight. It's an internal battle. That's period. That's what everything is ultimately internal. I'll give a raise, self-respect, and present yourself well for them, of course, since the suit. But thank you, Tyler. I appreciate you. You said you're a Mason, a great one, Andy. Well, listen, I respect you, man. I respect everybody, every blue-collar worker, because you built the world. A lot of YouTubers have jet engines sitting about. Oh yeah, like in Giza. Yeah, unfortunately I'm not on that network of YouTubers at the moment. My YouTube channel is still getting up there. Anybody that wants to help out, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's NatureJab. Tech Ingredients do have a jet engine. You could do a collaboration. I never even heard of somebody named Tech Ingredients. Yep, internal fortitude. That's what it's all about. All right, guys. Well, Instagram isn't letting anybody else on. But, let me let Mad Max on in the Discord. Then we'll end it there. What's up? Oh, wait. 1 second. Hold up. I got to turn my speaker on. Give me a second here. It turned off on me. Power on.
Hello?
What's up?
My question is, after the reaction is done, how do you get rid of the coal or tar soot that is left behind? What do you do with it? How do you dispose of it?
So that carbon product is super valuable. it has so much monetary value when it comes to selling it. It could be sold to farmers as fertilizer. It could be sold as a concrete additive, as a pigment. It's actually also full of any metals that were in the plastic too. So if there's copper, gold, silver, steel, you have to separate those things out. You can sell those too. But the carbon product is definitely not a waste product at all. It's very useful. But what I've been doing with it is actually I mix it with the plastic I put in the machine to help the reaction run better.
So it's kind of like what you do is like a exhaust gas recirculation, something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty. I pretty much am recirculating the exhaust of the process or the byproduct. So yeah, it's quite literally that. I never saw it that way before.
And then one more question. I really want to build a reactor like yours. So where should I sell all those if I want to get rid of these like the carbon products? Where should I sell them? Like who buys them? At least from your where you live, who do you sell it to?
I haven't sold
a lot of it.
I haven't sold my product, and really you can't sell the product outright because it's like I said, it's that carbon mixed with some metals and stuff. It has to be cleaned up first. So if you clean it up and then you do certain things to it, you can sell it to farmers because it's biochar, right? But farmers in the U.S. don't really like to buy biochar. I've heard farmers in the U.S. aren't into it yet. Like they're still getting onto bio. They rather use their regular stuff. So I don't really know. Like if we're talking on just a small scale, who could buy it? When we're talking, when you get a big company, the government Microsoft will buy the carbon for you for carbon credits. Big companies trying to have a carbon offset will buy it from you, but that's a bigger scale than just like I'm trying to individually sell it as an individual. So I think it's actually better off
bury it in my yard than in the meantime.
Hey, look, if you have a garden, you can bury it in your garden and you're going to grow some good plants out of it. And you also can use it in the barbecue. It's coal. You can burn it. Make briquettes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, take care and good luck with your machine. All right, we got one more person in Discord. I want to let you a quick video chop.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up?
I love what you're doing, man. I love how you trying to save, our nature, clean up our atmosphere, one way or another, especially with all this plastic pollution that we have. It's great for the ocean and also for these plastic dumps that we have, in Africa. This will be like a great invention machine to have in those rural places that is by the mass, so they can themselves power their side of the environment,
For sure. Yeah, and there's so many applications of this technology, because like they're doing all that and they're getting rid of their plastic waste.
Exactly. And a lot of those places they have war over fuel. You know what I'm saying? There's people that control the amount of fuel that can get to certain places, and this will be great for those places where they have to literally live or kill for it.
Exactly. I completely agree. And and that's why I say this is something that's going to truly change the earth, because think about how many wars and just nonsense happens over fuel, and now this thing that's polluting our rivers and everywhere turns out to be the thing that we needed all along, right? It's just going to change and alter the perspective of everybody forever. So it's a way deeper technology.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a way deeper technology than just a physical machine.
I seen this biography once in South America where these guys load up, their cars with fuel to get from one country to another country, and they're literally driving with hundreds of gallons, not 100, but at least 100, 150 gallons in their cars, and they're evading police and other cartels that are controlling the fuel, and they're risking, themselves getting blown up just to get fuel to some places. Yep. And then they're selling this fuel for double the price that these people can afford.
Right. So and then because think about the logistics too. You know, the reason they have to drive it is because they have to get this fuel from a plant far away. Now you can make this fuel at the same place that your waste is at, and waste is everywhere. Hey man, thank you very much for your support, for coming by. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. One person, Tyler on Facebook said, what would be nice is, of course, you have the paycheck already, just a cooler, easier, more interesting job. You'll have fun, enjoy, and making these things in the place of oil rigs. No more oil rig drilling and easier smart recycling. And I want a suit. Would you guess it's malfunctioning? I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to say there, Tyler, but and much love to you, Tyler, and thank you for your support. I see you're a subscriber on Facebook, and you've sent stars as well, so I appreciate you. I appreciate every single person that shows support and love, and I appreciate you all. I'll be live tomorrow. We're going to do the test run 3 of the machine. I've repaired the damages, and we'll be doing test run 3 of the machine live tomorrow, so I'll see you guys then. Peace out to everybody, and thank you for stopping by. We'll be doing more Q&As as well too. So you guys take care.